Have you ever felt like there's something invisible guiding your life? Something that seems to make things go your way, or sometimes against you? Well, you're not alone. There's a hidden force that shapes everything in your life. It's called the power of attention. This force doesn't need any special tools or tricks. It's not about magic spells or secret rituals. It's all about where you put your focus. Think about it like this. Your attention is like a spotlight. Whatever it shines on becomes brighter and more important in your world. For example, have you ever noticed that when you're thinking about buying a certain car, you suddenly see that car everywhere? It's not that there are more of those cars on the road. It's just that your attention is now tuned to notice them. This power of attention doesn't just work for small things like noticing cars. It can change your whole life. It can affect your relationships, your job, your health, and even your happiness. The amazing thing is, you're using this power all the time, whether you know it or not. Every thought you have, every worry that keeps you up at night, every dream you hold dear, all of these are shaping your reality through the power of your attention. But here's the exciting part. Once you understand how this works, you can start using it on purpose. You can learn to direct your spotlight of attention to the things you want more of in your life. It's like having a superpower that's been with you all along, just waiting for you to discover it. Now, you might be thinking, so what? Why does this matter to me? Well, let me tell you why this is so important. If you don't learn to use the power of your attention, you might miss out on amazing things in life. You could be letting great opportunities pass you by without even noticing them. Worse, you might be accidentally focusing on things that make your life harder or less enjoyable. Think about someone who's always worried about getting sick. They're constantly thinking about germs, watching for symptoms, and fearing the worst. What do you think happens? They often end up feeling unwell more often than others. Their attention to illness actually seems to bring more illness into their life. On the flip side, think about someone who's always looking for the good in every situation. They seem to have an easier time, right? Good things appear to happen to them more often. It's not that they're luckier. It's that they're paying attention to the positive things, so they notice and attract more of them. Learning to control your attention takes some work. It's not always easy to change the way you've been thinking for years. But if you're ready to make big changes in your life, this is one of the most powerful tools you can use. It doesn't cost anything. You don't need any special equipment. All you need is your mind and the willingness to practice. In this video, I'm going to show you how to harness this incredible power. I'll explain how it works, why it's so effective, and give you practical ways to start using it right away. I'll even share a simple exercise that I use every day. This exercise has helped me transform my own life, and I believe it can do the same for you. Let's dive deeper into what this power of attention really is. Imagine your mind is like a big garden. Your thoughts are the seeds you plant in this garden. Now, your attention? That's like the water and sunlight you give to those seeds. Whatever you pay attention to grows bigger and stronger in your mind, just like plants grow when you water them. This power of attention is always working, whether you're aware of it or not. Every time you worry about something, you're watering the seeds of that worry. Every time you get excited about a possibility, you're giving sunlight to that idea. Your garden, your life, grows based on where you direct your mental energy. Here's a simple way to think about it. Have you ever had a song stuck in your head? The more you try not to think about it, the more it plays on repeat in your mind. That's because you're giving it attention, even if it's negative attention. Your mind doesn't really know the difference between positive and negative focus. It just knows what you're focusing on. Understanding this is super important because it means you have more control over your life than you might think. You're not just a passive observer of what happens to you. You're actively creating your experience of the world through what you choose to focus on. Now, this doesn't mean that if you think about $1 million, it will magically appear in your bank account. The power of attention isn't about wishful thinking or ignoring reality. It's about training your mind to notice opportunities, to stay positive in the face of challenges, and to keep moving towards your goals even when things get tough. Think about two people starting a new business. One spends all their time worrying about what could go wrong. The other focuses on finding solutions and seeing opportunities. Who do you think is more likely to succeed? The second person, right? That's the power of attention in action. But it's not just about big life goals. This power affects your everyday life too. If you're always focusing on what's wrong in your relationship, you'll notice more problems and fewer of the good moments. If you're constantly thinking about how tired you are, you'll feel more drained. On the other hand, if you make an effort to notice the good things your partner does, or to focus on the energy you do have, you'll likely see positive changes in these areas. The key thing to remember is that your attention is like a muscle. The more you practice directing it, the stronger it gets. At first, it might feel hard to control your focus. You might find your mind wandering to worries or negative thoughts. That's normal. But with practice, you'll get better at choosing where to direct your mental energy. In the next part of this video, we'll look at some common mistakes people make when it comes to attention, and then we'll dive into specific strategies you can use to harness this power in your own life. Remember, you have this incredible tool at your disposal all the time. Learning to use it effectively can truly transform your reality. Imagine your mind is like a big, powerful spotlight. When you focus on something, you're shining that spotlight on it. This makes that thing brighter and more noticeable in your life. It's like turning up the volume on a particular part of your experience. This happens because of how our brains are wired. Our brains have something called the reticular activating system, RAS. Don't worry about the fancy name. Just think of it as your brain's filter. This filter helps you notice things that are important to you and ignore things that aren't. For example, have you ever learned a new word and then suddenly heard it everywhere? The word didn't suddenly become more common. Your brain just started noticing it more because you told it this word was important. The same thing happens with everything you focus on. If you're always thinking about problems, your brain will get really good at spotting problems everywhere. If you start focusing on solutions, your brain will get better at finding those instead. The more you focus on something, the stronger that neural pathway in your brain becomes. It's like creating a shortcut in your mind. The more you use that shortcut, the easier it becomes to go down that path again. This is why people say, practice makes perfect. When you practice something, you're really just focusing your attention on it over and over. This makes your brain better at doing that thing. But here's the cool part. This doesn't just work for skills. It works for emotions, attitudes, and even how you see the world. If you practice being grateful, you'll get better at noticing things to be grateful for. If you practice seeing opportunities, you'll start spotting them more often. Remember, your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what you're imagining. When you vividly imagine something, your brain reacts as if it's really happening. This is why visualizing success can be so powerful. You're training your brain to believe in that success. So, every time you focus on something, you're essentially telling your brain this is important. Show me more of this. Your brain then goes to work, filtering your experiences to bring you more of whatever you're focusing on. This is why it's so important to be careful about what you give your attention to. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about training your brain to notice the things that will help you, rather than the things that will hold you back. Now that we understand how powerful our attention is, let's talk about some common mistakes people make when using it. Knowing these can help you avoid falling into the same traps. The first big mistake is focusing on what you don't want instead of what you do want. It's easy to fall into this trap. For example, if you're trying to lose weight, you might constantly think, I don't want to be fat. But remember, your brain doesn't really understand, don't? It just hears fat and focuses on that. Instead, it's much more effective to think about being healthy and fit. Another common error is getting stuck in negative thought loops. This is when you keep replaying bad experiences or worries in your mind. Each time you do this, you're strengthening those neural pathways, making it easier to fall back into those thoughts again. It's like digging a deeper and deeper rut that's hard to get out of. Many people also make the mistake of letting their attention be controlled by others. In today's world, there are so many things competing for your attention. Social media, news, advertisements. If you're not careful, you can end up focusing on things that don't really matter to you, just because they're flashy or dramatic. Another pitfall is not being consistent with your focus. Some people get excited about a goal and focus on it intensely for a short time, but then they get distracted or discouraged and stop. Remember, Using the power of attention is like exercising a muscle. You need to do it regularly to see results. Many people also forget to focus on the present moment. They spend so much time thinking about the past or worrying about the future that they miss the opportunities right in front of them. Your power is in the present. That's where you can actually make changes and take action. Lastly, a big mistake is being too hard on yourself when your attention wanders. Everyone's mind wanders sometimes. The key is to gently bring your focus back to where you want it, without judging yourself. All these mistakes can lead to feeling stuck, stressed, or like you're not making progress in life. But don't worry, now that you know about them, you can start to change these habits. In the next section, we'll talk about how to do that. The first key to harnessing the power of your attention is becoming aware of your thoughts. This might sound simple, but it's actually something many of us don't do very often. We're so used to our thoughts that we don't really notice them. They're like background noise in our minds. Start by taking some time each day to just notice what you're thinking about. You don't need to change anything at first. Just observe. It's like you're sitting by a river, watching your thoughts float by like leaves on the water. As you do this, you might be surprised by what you notice. Are most of your thoughts positive or negative? Do you spend a lot of time rehashing the past or worrying about the future? Are there certain topics that your mind keeps coming back to? Try asking yourself some simple questions throughout the day. What am I focusing on right now? Is this thought helping me or holding me back? Where did this thought come from? How does this thought make me feel? Don't judge your thoughts as good or bad. Just notice them. This awareness is the first step in taking control of your attention. You might find it helpful to keep a thought journal. Just jot down what you're thinking about at different times of the day. After a week or so, look back and see if you can spot any patterns. Remember, your thoughts aren't facts. They're just thoughts. Sometimes we get so caught up in our thoughts that we forget this. By observing your thoughts, you create a little bit of space between you and them. This space gives you the power to choose which thoughts you want to focus on. As you practice this awareness, you'll start to notice how your thoughts affect your feelings and actions. You might realize that on days when you focus on positive things, you feel more energetic and get more done. Or you might notice that when you worry a lot about something, it often doesn't turn out as bad as you feared. This awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, you can see what's really there. You start to understand why you feel and act the way you do. And once you can see it, you can start to change it. Don't get discouraged if you find it hard to be aware of your thoughts at first. Like any skill, it takes practice. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Soon, you'll start catching yourself in the middle of a thought and be able to ask, is this where I want my attention to be right now? When you become aware of your thoughts, you take the first step in using the power of your attention. You're no longer just reacting to whatever pops into your mind. You're starting to choose where you put your mental energy. And that choice is the beginning of transforming your reality. Now that you're aware of your thoughts, the next step is learning to choose what you focus on. This is where you start actively using the power of your attention to shape your reality. Start by making a list of things that make you happy or excited. These could be big things like your goals and dreams, or small things like your favorite foods or activities. Keep this list somewhere you can see it often. When you find your mind wandering to negative thoughts, try to redirect it to something from this list. It's important to understand that choosing what to focus on doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about finding a balance. When you face a challenge, instead of dwelling on how hard it is, try to focus on possible solutions. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Or how can I make this situation better? Even when life seems tough, try to find one good thing to focus on each day. Maybe it's a beautiful sunset, a kind word from a friend, or just the fact that you made it through another day. By training your mind to look for the positive, you'll start to notice more good things in your life. Remember, what you focus on grows. If you focus on what's going wrong, you'll find more things to be upset about. If you focus on what's going right, you'll start to see more opportunities and reasons to be grateful. This doesn't mean you should ignore your negative emotions. It's okay to feel sad, angry, or frustrated sometimes. But instead of getting stuck in these feelings, acknowledge them and then choose to shift your focus to something more positive or productive. Try this. Whenever you catch yourself thinking about what you don't want, immediately switch to thinking about what you do want. For example, if you find yourself thinking, I don't want to be broke, switch it to, I want to be financially stable. This simple shift can make a big difference in how you feel and what actions you take. One of the most powerful ways to use your attention is to focus on gratitude. Being grateful might sound simple, but it can have a huge impact on your life. Every day, think of 3 things you're thankful for. They can be big or small, like a tasty meal, a comfortable bed, or a kind friend. The key is to really feel the gratitude, not just think about it. When you focus on what you're grateful for, a few things happen. First, you start to feel happier. It's hard to be upset when you're thinking about good things in your life. Second, you train your brain to notice more positive things. Remember, what you focus on grows. The more you practice gratitude, the more things you'll find to be grateful for. Gratitude also helps you put things in perspective. When you're going through a tough time, focusing on what you're grateful for can remind you that there are still good things in your life. This can give you the strength to keep going. You can practice gratitude in different ways. Some people like to write in a gratitude journal. Others prefer to share what they're thankful for with a friend or family member. You could even start a gratitude jar, where you write down one thing you're grateful for each day and put it in the jar. Remember, gratitude isn't about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on the good things, even when life is challenging. This doesn't mean you can't work on improving things. In fact, when you're in a grateful state of mind, you're often better equipped to handle challenges and make positive changes. Here's a simple exercise you can try right now to start harnessing the power of your attention. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Let yourself relax. Think of something you really want in your life. It could be a goal you want to achieve, a quality you want to develop, or a situation you want to improve. Now, imagine that you already have this thing. Really feel it. What does it look like? How does it make you feel? What's different about your life now that you have this? Spend a few minutes really living in this feeling. Let yourself experience the joy, satisfaction, or peace that comes with having what you want. Open your eyes and try to carry that feeling with you as you go about your day. Do this for a few minutes each day and watch how things start to change. You might notice that you feel more positive, or that you start seeing opportunities related to your goal. You might find yourself taking actions that bring you closer to what you want without even realizing it. This exercise works because it trains your brain to focus on what you want rather than what you don't have. It helps you build those neural pathways that support your goals and desires. Plus, it puts you in a positive state of mind, which can help you make better decisions and take more effective actions. As we wrap up this journey into the power of attention, let's recap what we've learned. Your attention is like a spotlight, illuminating and magnifying whatever it focuses on in your life. By becoming aware of your thoughts, choosing what to focus on, practicing gratitude, and using simple exercises like visualization, you can start to shape your reality in powerful ways. Remember, where you put your attention is like a superpower. It can change how you see the world and what happens in your life. Just like a garden grows with water and sunlight, your life grows with what you pay attention to. This doesn't mean that life will always be easy or that challenges won't come your way. But by mastering the power of your attention, you'll be better equipped to handle whatever life throws at you. You'll be able to see opportunities where others see obstacles, find solutions where others get stuck, and maintain a positive outlook even in difficult times. The key is to practice. Like any skill, directing your attention gets easier with time. Be patient with yourself. If you find your mind wandering to negative thoughts, gently bring it back to where you want it to be. Celebrate small victories. Every time you choose to focus on something positive or productive, you're rewiring your brain for success and happiness. Remember, you have this incredible tool at your disposal all the time. Your attention is always focused on something. Why not make sure it's focused on things that help you grow and thrive? I hope this video has given you insights and tools to start using the power of your attention in your own life. Start small, be consistent, and watch as your reality begins to transform. Your thoughts shape your world, so choose them wisely. Thank you for your attention throughout this video. Now, Go out there and start shaping your reality with the power of your focus. Your best life is waiting for you to notice it.